From growing up in East London and leaving school at 15 to starting billion-pound companies with the likes of the Kardashians and mixing with the odd dragon or two along the way, she's definitely a force to be reckoned with. Here to share her story of resilience, ambition and success. Please welcome Emma Grede. Very excited to have you on the panel. I mean, as a Londoner myself, you've done well for yourself.
Oh, thank you.
Now, life is so different for you now from growing up in East London. But how much are you enjoying the space that you're in right now? You've got the podcast, you've got the business, you've got an incredible family that you've opened your doors to, that we see on Instagram. So you've got so many facets of life at the minute. How do you find your life at the moment compared to where you thought you might be?
Oh, that's a lovely question. You know, when you've worked hard to get somewhere, you know, you never really get to the place, right? Because it's like I'm working harder now than I ever have in my life. So I'm not sure I ever think about it in that way. There's no, like, moment of celebration because I'm always, like, looking at what's coming, right? What's in the future. So I guess I'm happy with myself. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't, but it's not like I've arrived at some magical place. Yeah,
but you are incredibly influential in the work that you do.
Thank you.
And the way in which you talk very openly about things. There have been lots of quotes and podcasts and, I don't know, speeches that you've given.
What on earth are you talking about?
Well, you know, like, you know, because I remember the uproar where you were sort of talking about that it isn't a business's responsibility if you decide to have a family. We have to take otherwise businesses can't grow. You know, those sorts of things that you've said.
No, a little out of context. I think actually what I was asked was if it's your responsibility, if it's an employer's responsibility to think about work-life balance. Now, listen, as a mother of 4, you have to have a balance. I leave the office every single day at 5. But I think that we're in a time right now where we're in a really blamey culture. And I think that you have to take responsibility for yourself. That's what I do. That's what I think everybody has to do. Yeah. But at the end of the day, where the businesses that I run, I mean, we're talking about... It's very different. Nobody is, you know, in the office at 9, leaves at 6 with no flexibility. No. The way that we've come back to work after COVID is that there's ultimate flexibility. But I do think that you have some responsibility to yourself. And
it depends what you do, doesn't it, flexibility?
Yeah, absolutely.
It depends what you do for a living.
It depends on the job.
But when I look at your trajectory, it's clear that you have incredible drive. Where do you think that drive comes from? Did you have that drive? Are you aware of having it even as a child?
Yeah, I think so. You know, it's like I grew up in East London and, you know, I'm one of 4 girls, single mum. And so there was just this spirit of, like, getting things done in my house. My mum had to go to work. And so, you know, I would help with the kids, you'd iron shirts, you'd do the packed lunches. And it was that muck-it-in spirit.
Busy.
We were just always busy because it's the only way we get out of the house, you know, it's the only way we get anything done. But I think I got my drive from my mum, from my nan. It really come from those East London women that just work hard at everything.
And then always, with women, I think in particular, there's a point in our lives, because a lot of the people on the show are very driven as well. There comes a point where it's great when you're young, but it can also sometimes be your worst enemy when you get older, and learning how to be able to switch off that drive, particularly when you've got a family.
Well, I also think for women there is this idea that we feel like we have to be perfect at everything all the time. And I've really rid myself of that, because I don't think anyone has it all. I don't think you're the perfect wife and the perfect mum and then perfect in work. Sometimes you just got to be happy with a little bit less.
But
it's the pressure we put on ourselves.
You started off here and you had this talent agency which was very clever, getting celebrities to endorse brands, and through that, obviously, brilliant networking led you to work with the Kardashians. And obviously you created these incredibly successful brands, denim brands and then the underwear brands. But now you've come forward. Why is that? Because before you were a big partner in that business and you were responsible for their success, but you were behind the scenes. So why put yourself through it in the spotlight, knowing, as you know, that once you're in front of the camera and all the eyes are on you, everything about your life is going to be picked over?
Well, do you know what? I think it's really interesting that you say that, because for me, I almost feel like a bit of a responsibility, because all I get wherever I go, and, you know, I've spent my life building and scaling businesses, right, my entire career. And wherever I go, people say to me, how did you do that? How can I get a pay rise? How can I get, you know, further in my career? And so there's a part of me that goes, I've done this for a really long time. For 20 years, I've been learning and building, made amazing contacts. And so I thought, why not share it? Why not actually take everything that I've learned and put it out there and say, do you know what? If I can do it, you know, someone who left school at 16, someone who was raised with, you know, single mum, someone who didn't have it all set out in front of them, then so can you. So this is actually done in the spirit of going, let's just like be honest about what it takes and let's share.
Is what you're trying to share your business acumen, which is why you went on Shark Tank and Dragons.
And Dragons.
You did both.
And why I'm doing the podcast, more importantly. And I think that is really the part of it for me that is like the most interesting part, because we've kind of, especially on social media, we've made the idea of what it takes to be successful so glamorous. And I'm like, it's not that glamorous. And you can't manifest your way into an incredible business. You know, manifestation has to meet really hard work. And so I just want to be like, here's what it actually is, as opposed to what we're pretending.
And the names, you've had Meghan Markle, you've had Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama.
I know. When I saw your excitement over the Michelle Obama, and I was just like, this is incredible. What's it like to sit across, essentially, you know, especially black women that you admire, what's it like for you to sit across from them and be talking to them and to be interviewing them for something, for a product that belongs to you, that's your baby?
Yeah, you know, it was honestly a dream come true. And I think with someone like Michelle, she's done so many incredible things. And even now, outside of, you know, being in office, she's an inspiration, you know, and she's also, again, really honest. You know, she talks about not being able to have it all. She talks about raising her kids while she was at the White House and, you know, what she's doing now through the Obama Foundation, where I sit on the board. And so for me, it was a mixture of like awe, and I had to like remember to ask questions. You know, like in love, like little love bubbles.
I know your dream
guest
to have is Oprah.
It's Oprah.
Now, come on, surely you can
just send her a WhatsApp.
Let's
surely just WhatsApp her and say,
hey girl, get over here, babe.
But I tell you what, Janet, you really enjoyed the Meghan one, didn't you?
I thought the Meghan one was good.
Thank you.
You put her on the spot and then it wasn't as easy as perhaps she was expecting. What do you...
I mean, I don't know. You know, I am really interested in what people are doing, like, under the hood, right? It's like, I really want to get, like, I'm like, great, I get it. You made some jam and you're going to sell that. Like, what does it take to actually, like, start a proper business?
Well, you don't think, Emma, with all due respect, she didn't make that jam herself?
She made, you know, she's making a brand. I mean, do I make the knickers myself?
Yeah.
No. So that's where we are.
No, I absolutely love that. And I think, can you give us any tidbits of the big names you've got?
Well, you know, we've had Gwyneth Paltrow and, you know, honestly, I think what's interesting is there's a lot of celebs, right? I live in LA and there's a lot of talent that come through. But actually, like, I think what's interesting are the people that you don't know. It's the professors, it's the experts. There's a guy called Jefferson Fisher. There's, like, a communication expert that it launched yesterday. And this guy tells you what to do with insults. He tells you what to do when you need a pay rise. He tells you, like, how to have difficult conversations, like, with people that you love. And I thought it was one of the most interesting conversations.
I love those unsung heroes, because you don't know who they are.
No, and yet they're so useful, because what I want is for people to listen to this podcast and take something away. If I take an hour of your time, I want you to be able to take something away with it. So that's the important part.
And Aspire with Emma Grede is wherever you get your podcast.
Wherever you get them.
Emma Grede, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.